all of that. You certainly don't have to read all of that. This was the proposed timetable. It was all going ahead. Everybody was positive. The planning department was up for it. We had funding from Maggie Bolt at the Arts Council. You know, everybody's totally cool. We had the tattoo on board. We got Major Leishman approving this competition because it was going to run from his office down the street, and our appointment was terminated. Because at that time there was, and this is how to be circumspect with this, right? Nobody tell. There was a certain Edinburgh councillor, some of you will know this individual, whose wife worked for the Fruit Market Gallery, and she wanted it. It was her ball, so she took over the competition. She went to Lothian Enterprise Limited, our client, and said, "It's very fine what these chaps from Glasgow are supposed to be doing, but actually I think I'll run this competition now." And because she was married to a senior councillor, that was deemed to be appropriate. And what was quite interesting was Lothian Edinburgh Enterprise resisted that, resisted our being ditched on account of it. And I said, no, we'll go quietly, because obviously we don't want to cause you any pain and any hassle. And the individual concerned was on their board, so there was pain and hassle being caused. So this is sort of political manipulation, ousting us from what would have been quite a nice project, and strangely it never happened thereafter. So the lady who took over did not deliver, but far be it from me to suggest that it was deliverable at all. But in point of fact, that was just, you know, a sort of internal process. I wrote a letter to Lothian Edinburgh Enterprise, and it went all over the enterprise network, because they couldn't quite work out. They had to share it with the office to work out exactly what I was saying. And those of you who understand a little bit, and I'm coming back onto sex, was I indicated that at this stage in the project I felt I should, quotes, imitate the action of a good Catholic. And they passed it round the office, and obviously the action of a good Catholic is to withdraw. So we withdrew from the competition, and they gave us a much bigger job. So we'll come on to the much bigger job. It's quite good. Sometimes if you resign and, you know, depart quietly and with reasonably good grace, and I'm not bitter, you actually get a bigger job. We didn't get this one. This was the interim one. We pitched in for this one. This was our bid to run the City of Architecture and Design 1999. And, you know, we didn't get the job. That's John Forbes' wonderful illustration, wonderful drawing of the centre of Glasgow. John was part of our team. We had quite a nice team. We had the then Professor of Architecture at Edinburgh University, various lighting designer friends, and there were all sorts of ideas contained within this fairly substantial document. We produced, I think, a 30 or 40 page submission about what we would do if we were allowed to lead off Edinburgh's bid for the City of Architecture 1999. And there's some of the content. This was all the various sort of deliberations in terms of what we would do if, you know, Edinburgh were to be to employ us. Sadly, however, we came second in the bidding process. There was a particular councillor who had a particular friend, and we lost out. Not that I'm bitter. Happily, we got the job of running Glasgow's bid. So it all worked out for the best, apart from for Edinburgh, really. But there you go. So I became part of the Glasgow bid team, and the rest is history. I have to say, at the conclusion of all of this, and in retrospect, and there is now big retrospect in all of this, Edinburgh should have won 1999. Shouldn't have won on the basis of its bid, which I don't think was adequate. It should have won on the basis of what would have been delivered. The passion and dedication in this city in terms of delivering on the back of 1999 was actually far greater than was ever apparent in the city of Glasgow, despite my friend Pat Lally's protestations and desire to make it big. The event didn't achieve what it might have achieved in Glasgow, in my view, and that's a long view. And I do think this was Edinburgh's moment, and Edinburgh should have grabbed that prize. Now, you can surmise as to why Edinburgh didn't get it and Glasgow did, but there we are. Edinburgh Lighting Vision, PR and Marketing. This was the job that came off the back of the failed fruit lights competition. The client again, Leo, because we'd, strategically withdrawn from the previous endeavour. That document, which I actually discovered and filed today, we thought there were no copies of that left. That document is as rare as hen's teeth, and Jonathan Spears wants a copy and will get that copy and be delighted to give it to him, because I didn't know I still had a copy of it. And it was a fantastic piece of work on behalf of Edinburgh District Council at that time by Morrison Steedman and Lighting Design Partnership. We were not involved at the outset in this process at all, I have to say. All credit to these guys who came up with the most fantastically comprehensive, intelligent lighting vision for the City of Edinburgh. However, the technology was not there at that time, and ultimately the Edinburgh Lighting Vision fails, not because of the intent or the will or the funding or the support or the city's determination to deliver, but because the technology simply wasn't at this stage up to the task, and you end up with very considerable technical challenges, and essentially the costs then become too great to bear. Whereas now, while it's been revisited, I understand, and I think that's a fantastic endeavour and very appropriate and very worthy, and it will achieve long-term effects. And I can show you what the long-term effects will look like, because I've got photographs of the first time round, and I've also, incidentally, John and Ricardo, I've got Alan Ford's complete photo essay on the whole of the first time round Edinburgh Lighting Vision, and I think that's a document that you might actually want, and it's something else that you sort of scrabble through your archives and think, oh yeah, we did that as well. So this was a proposal by Graham Montgomery for an event related to the Edinburgh Lighting Vision. That one didn't happen, but we had a major exhibition. We also promoted the Edinburgh Lighting Vision internationally, and these are Alan Forbes' images. And I know it's not quite kosher to copy from magazines, but I'm sure Architectural Record won't mind. And this is a New York magazine featuring, a huge 6-page feature on the Edinburgh Lighting Vision using Alan's photographs. And as I say, I have all the original slides, but I'm sure you can translate them into something useful. And they're just sublime. I mean, the photographs, this doesn't do them justice. They should be up there on their own. Absolutely stunning vision of the city by night, and a really effective project. We ended up producing a fairly major exhibition, a substantial series of events related to the Edinburgh Lighting Vision. I don't seem to have one of the images that I was hoping was here, but apologies for that. We actually produced a series of posters, and they had a spotlight focusing in on the letters ELV, and I did lots of wordplay with ELV is various things, and it took Lothian Edinburgh Enterprise an age to work out that ELVIS spells something other than the Edinburgh Lighting Vision is. So there were lots of wordplays on Elvis, but they didn't get it, and eventually when they did get it, they canned all those images and made to do rather more boring ones instead. But there you are. The Cowgate project. This was another sadly lost project. The idea was that by using artworks, and this is a rather exuberant early proposal by the artist Colin Duncan, the idea was that you use lighting and art to enhance public safety. So we weren't actually putting in bollards or any of that stuff. What we were doing was using artworks to delineate safe spaces and to improve the lighting condition in the Cowgate. Because part of the problem at that time, not so much now, it has improved, but at that time was that the Cowgate at night was truly dark, and you get vehicles rushing along on the rat run. Now, the control of vehicles late at night has been introduced subsequent to all of this.